Is sponsored in part by Haverhill attorney Gerard LaFlamme. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Good Sports, because it's Wednesday night and it's a little after 6. And Tommy Morgan's here, Dave Morrison's here, I'm here, Paul Ryan, so it must be Good Sports. Brilliant deduction.
Wow.
How you doing, Tommy? Everything all right?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Dave, you okay?
I'm fine.
That's
just
enough,
overcoming a little bit of the fever that's been going around the schools.
One word answer, yes or no?
Yeah, I'm getting close to yes.
We can't even hear you, you know.
Oh, weird. Okay.
I don't have any headphones on.
Hold on. Let me get you. Here,
I'm a little slow on the draw here tonight, Dave. You know why? I'm out of my schedule. Schedule. Well, you know, ever since that mishap I had this week, earlier in the week, you heard about
what mishap?
Huh?
What mishap?
Oh, I fell down the cellar stairs.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Carrying down the laundry. Sheesh. I only went down like 6 stairs.
All right, we're good. We're locked in over here.
Well, I hope you feel better. I didn't know about that mishap, but I'm glad you're okay.
Well, I didn't hit my
Paul.
head, so I'm okay. You know, I'm fine. So thank you anyway.
Hey, is this your Mega Millions? It's just been hanging around this on-air studio. Somebody's going away, not a millionaire. I assume somebody left it behind because they didn't win, though. But you always want to check.
No, I'm all set. I'm good. I'll never win. Anyway.
Well, not with that attitude.
Okay, we got to talk a little bit about sports here, but we're going to cross over into the news world a little later this evening about that story coming out of Chicago, because, you know, I know this is a sports talk show, but, you know, the world doesn't stop just because Tommy and I are in the Edwin V. Johnson newsroom. You know, we'll give it a little chatter about that, because there was some late breaking stuff just before we came out on air about the fact that he is now a suspect in a Class 4 felony.
Are you talking about Jesse Smollett?
Yes.
Oh, good topic.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that a little later. But I want to talk.
I want to talk about it now, but it's your show.
No, take it easy, buddy. We're almost break time. Now, I'll tell you, if I was a free agent that didn't get signed in baseball, and it's almost March 1st. Next week is March 1st. You got to be like this. You got to be looking, you know, going to sleep, looking at the ceiling, saying, you know, it's just not going to happen. You know, they're just holding back. You know, the market's changed, everything's swung, and then this guy gets a $300 million contract.
Yeah.
Holy good God! Stop the music.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we had touched on it. We haven't gone, you know, too deep into the free agency of baseball because, quite frankly, there hasn't been much going on. But I do find it pretty comical that the San Diego Padres were the destination for Manny Machado. I mean, you can't think of a more irrelevant franchise in the MLB right now than San Diego. I mean, I don't think I've ever watched a San Diego Padres game in my life.
I was thinking a show. Is who's the manager there? Bud Black?
I have no idea.
Bruce Bochy is Bud Black with San Francisco. I think Bud Black's with San Francisco.
I mean,
positive.
You know, but when I saw it, I was actually thinking about this last night. You know, like just what an absolute buffoon that Machado is. I mean, the signing of this deal, like, could not scream more. All I want is the money, and I don't care about winning. You know what I mean? He's going to go enjoy himself in California, nice weather.
Yeah.
You know, just a nice leisure life.
He'll screw it up. He'll get in a fight on the way to San Diego.
You know, it's like, you know, and I understand that, you know, the market gets reset every year, and this was the year that Harper and Machado were going to get the big deal. But I mean, really, like the San Diego Padres, that's the team. How many wins does Machado really add to that team, or how relevant does he even make that team? I don't think at all, really.
Well, they probably end up 42 games behind, under 500 instead of 62. Maybe he wins 20 games for him.
Right? Yeah. It's like, I mean, that contract could not scream more, I don't care about winning.
Exactly.
Right?
And anybody that dangled that money in front of them.
I mean, he is going to go live a nice, leisurely life.
He's going to live right down there in Orange County.
Right?
He's going to be
it's like,
happy guy.
What a joke. And, for baseball purposes, I mean, I feel like as a fan of baseball, you got to be holding out that someone like the Phillies lands Bryce Harper. Because that'll toss them right into the mix of being favorites to win the World Series. I think they're like 4th or 5th.
Philly?
Yeah, now in favorites.
He's a difference maker,
right,
for sure.
Right, a guy who can hit the ball out of the ballpark and, really provides some stability to the middle of that lineup.
A good soldier. He's a good clubhouse guy. He's a good baseball man.
Yeah, he is, and obviously he had that blowout there in Washington with Papelbon, but
Papelbon. I think Papelbon's half crazy anyway.
Right, I think Harper is a guy who enjoys the game, and I think he's someone that wants to win.
Yeah.
So I think as a fan of baseball, you'd like to see him land somewhere in Philly, somewhere where there's a market that people care about baseball and a team that has a real chance of actually winning some games.
People in South Philly, they'll be flocking through the turnstiles down in Philadelphia to get Bryce Harper. But all I know is I haven't heard this anywhere yet, so I'm going to be the first one, I think, to say this. Maybe not. Maybe somebody in San Diego probably said it. His new name is now Money Machado.
Yeah, literally.
Right?
Yeah.
It's Money Machado.
Right.
I mean, not because I'm happy for him, because exactly what you said. He sold himself for the dollar. He doesn't care about winning a game.
At all.
He could care less about baseball.
I mean, you talk about, I know this stigma kind of hung around David Price for his first couple of years here in Boston, a guy who got his contract and was just going to kind of coast to the finish line. And obviously he kind of turned that picture around and what people were kind of drawing him out to be. And, I mean, this literally could not be more of, I don't care anything about winning. I'm going to go enjoy my life in California and make $30 million a year.
Machado and Bryce Harper, two people aimed at ruining baseball, pretty much. They're punks.
Nah, so Machado, I'll give you. I mean, he's a puke. He's just
not Bryce Harper.
I think he's a
baseball player.
Yeah, Harper can bring some. He's flamboyant, and I think he
could go to Philly and hit 35, 38 home runs, breaking sticks.
Right. But I think somewhere in Bryce Harper there's a competitive spirit. Someone who cares. So that's why I'm saying, I think if you see him sign with someone like the Phillies, which he's been, there's been rumors swirling around that they want to go after him, I feel like that is a legitimate landing spot for a guy like that. Someone who obviously is worth the money, but who also wants to win baseball games as well.
If he signs with the Orioles, you're right, Dave.
Yeah, exactly. If he signs with some team like that, then what that, what's the point of free agency in baseball?
It's like the studio tonight, put our radios on and hear that he signed with the Padres.
Right.
They're going to bat 3-4.
Yeah.
Oh, well, who knows? But all I know is Manny Machado is now in San Diego, not caring one bit about winning a game, but he's going to have the best tan, the best yacht. He's probably going to have a pretty good crew, too, now that I think of it. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more good sports right after this. Paul Ryan, back on top of my game ever since that fall down those cellar stairs. I'll tell you, carrying that laundry down stuff.
Good Sports will be right back. Gerard LaFlamme. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Turn your mic on. Welcome back to Good Sports. There we go.
Yeah, we're back. What's Mr. Howard's first name, the guy that did the intro?
Oh, that would be John Grant.
John Grant, I'm sorry.
Yep, he is a newbie. He's a new member of the WHAV family.
He sounds like Santa Claus.
He does a little bit.
Yeah, I felt like I was scared. I thought he was coming down the chimney.
No. What do you bring me, a cold? Thanks, Santa. No, but John Grant is a new member of the WHAV family. Great addition, and a radio veteran. He did radio in Alaska and Hawaii. What are the odds? And he's a local guy. So
like I said,
welcome to the family, John. Thank you very much for doing the voiceover.
How can you do radio, have a show in Alaska and Hawaii? Like I said, people are in their igloos, frozen solid. They got no electricity, so nobody can listen to you. And then he works in Hawaii, and everybody's on the beach. What kind of a show, what kind of ratings could you have had? Who was listening to in Hawaii? Pineapples? Monkeys?
Wow.
Hey.
You want to get to that Jesse Smollett story?
Hey. No, I want to talk about...
David, can you sound the breaking news alarm?
Let me try to find one. Yeah.
Make one up.
Ryan Donato on his way out of Boston, heading to Minnesota for Charlie Coyle, center from the Minnesota Wild.
Wasn't Coyle with us for a while before?
He's from the area. He's from Weymouth. I think he's from Weymouth.
That's what it is. Okay, yeah.
So
the name.
Bruins traded Ryan Donato for Charlie Coyle, center from the Minnesota Wild.
John's not going to be happy.
No, John. I'm sure we'll be hearing from John.
Dialing right now.
Yeah. I mean, so my initial thoughts on this is I think it's a little early to be trading a guy like Ryan Donato. Obviously, came in last year and kind of was, set the world on fire early. But I still think, a young kid like that who's got talent to put the puck in the net, it might be a little bit early, but, on the flip side of that coin, I think that it makes sense right now for the Bruins. Coyle's a center. Obviously, the Bruins are hurting for, a solidified third-line center right now. I think David Backes is obviously not the player that he once was. A little slow, old.
Yeah, old. Yeah. That was the question when they got him. If you could give him a couple of good years,
Right.
And they got a lot out of him.
Right, and at this where the Bruins are right now, I mean, the Bruins are red hot, 6 in a row. What a game. The game in San Jose, I don't know whether to say that was a horrible game or like the best game. Blew a 3-0 first period lead. And ended up winning at 6-5 in overtime. But obviously the team is winning hockey games right now, and I think at this point you can't stand pat. You got to go make a move and try to improve this team, because I think your window right now, like I've said before, with guys like Bergeron and Marchand, right? You're at a good time right now with your team where you have really good veterans accompanied by solid young players. Obviously. You're not the likes of Tampa Bay right now.
Oh, no,
but you got to improve that team, to go up against a team like Toronto, who's got Tavares, Matthews, Mitch Marner. That team's loaded up front offensively. So, the trade makes sense, I guess, when you're looking at the roster right now for the Bruins. They got a lot of young talent wingers who are expendable at this point. So it makes sense.
Well, you know what? It makes sense, too. The team's playing well. And you know what? This gives you a shot in the arm. Okay. They went out and made a good move for us. We hate seeing Donato go, but that's hockey. That's professional sports. It happens. He's still playing.
Right. And, I think when you
get a hometown guy coming, that helps, too.
And I haven't seen the full details of the trade. I just saw that Ryan Donato is on the move. I can't imagine that he's accompanied by a first-round pick. I feel like it's probably just Donato for him. But, you saw what they did last year. They gave up a first-round pick for Rick Nash, and Rick Nash obviously didn't pan out to what we thought he would be. Thought he'd be a second-line winger that could put the puck in the net, and quite frankly, he was his
better days were behind.
Yeah, a disappointment, I think, would be an understatement. So, you go out and you get a guy like Charlie Coyle to try to, obviously, a second line winger to play alongside Krejci and DeBrusk would be ideal. Not to say that the Bruins are done making moves, but you certainly filled a need on this team that they were desperately looking for.
Well, I'll tell you, like I said, you give your team a shot in the arm. Tuukka Rask has really given them a shot in the arm in the last few weeks. He's been standing on his head, making saves, and that's what you need. You need the hot goaltender going into the playoffs, and it's a far cry from the first month of the season when we were talking about him, and that's why you keep building and building, and you get an identity, and then you just hope for the best. And the puck bounce is funny. Everybody's looking at Tampa Bay and to waltz the rest of the way, but games played on ice. I don't care. I say it all the time. Games played on ice. The puck's going to bounce funny. A football bounces funny on dry land.
Right, and I think that's the thing that I like about hockey the most is it's so hard to win, right? It's so hard to consistently.
It's not hard to lose. It's hard to win.
Right, and you saw a couple years ago when Nashville came from the West as the 8th seed, right? So it's not like it's cut and dry as the NBA where there's really there might be 3 teams in the Eastern Conference this year, and obviously it's Golden State in the Western Conference again. But hockey, like one bad bounce with the puck, it ends up in the net, and the team that you didn't think was going to wins the game.
Right.
So there's certainly some more. The field is obviously more level in the NHL, and I know what Tampa Bay is doing this year is record breaking. But if you can if the Bruins can add another piece, I feel like you got to feel better. Obviously, they'd still be an underdog to Tampa Bay, but you got to feel better about their chances if that's who they saw.
Yeah, and then you get the Tampa Bay faithful down there. The baseball season will be starting. They don't care about the Rays. The thing is that they're gonna suffer through. Gee, I hope we don't have a letdown. This, because that's what happens when you're so good. You got to have the faithful behind you, but you got to have the faithful behind you to thinking we're going to win. You know? The team draws on you. Don't think you don't. They draw on the fans, and if the fans stay pumped up and juiced and don't let them nap, as far as the team nap. They'll probably get the job done, but anything can happen.
Right,
everything weighs into it.
Right, and I think when you talk about that, you can look at a team like the Washington Capitals. I know they finally got the monkey off their back, but it seemed like for so many years they were the team in the regular season. A wagon year in and year out, just collecting a bunch of points in the regular season, and they were never able to get the job done when it mattered. I know I'm not saying that that's what Tampa Bay is going to be, but I feel like right now, like I said, for the Bruins, you have this window with guys like Bergeron and Marchand, and you're winning all these games without Pasternak in the lineup either. So once you get him back in, you'd really like to see them go get a guy who can play the wing on the second line. That kid Panarin out of Columbus has been in conversation. So I don't know what it's going to take to get him. Probably a first-round pick and a player. I don't know if the Bruins are willing to kind of give up a first-rounder again after, what they saw last year out of Rick Nash. But, it's a move that they could make and really kind of solidify 2 spots that they were hurting in.
Well, time will tell, but they made a good move today, and I like the fact you bring somebody back with some Boston blood in them as far as being a local guy, because that just spurs that person on. He's a tested player, and the thing is, he comes home, it's gonna make him play that much harder, but it's easier to play harder because you're impressing your hometown fans,
right? And
family and whatever.
I think he's the kind of the perfect player that you want on that third line. I know they've bounced Danton Heinen around a little bit. He's been up on the first line with Pasternak out, but ideally, I think what you want to see out of that third line is maybe a guy like Heinen and Fredericks on the wing, kind of on the to flank a guy like Charlie Coyle, who's not going to set the world on fire, but he plays a really solid game. Not going to make a lot of mistakes, and kind of be able to work with the 2 younger guys. And Heinen's shown that he can put the puck in the net. He scored 20 goals last year. Had a little bit of a down year this year. Is having a little bit of a down year, but it seems like the young guys are starting to pick it up a little bit. Jake DeBrusk has 4 goals in his last 5 or something like that. Big goal the other night in San Jose, and he was able to set up the game winner to McAvoy. What tremendous speed he had on that play. So trade deadline's a couple days, or trade deadline is it tomorrow? Anyways, trade deadline.
Friday, right?
Yeah, 1 or 2 days left,
Yeah.
so there could still be some moves out there for the Bruins. Wayne Simmons was another guy. Mark Stone from Ottawa is another guy. So, I'd like to see them maybe make one more move, but at least they addressed an area of need.
Yeah, well, let's see what the phone starts ringing coming from the other direction now. They see you make a move like that. They say, gee, well, the Bruins are in the market. Maybe they'll talk about this, So that's you help spur, calls coming from other people to you when they see that you want to play and get involved.
So that's the breaking news. Charlie Coyle coming to Boston in exchange for Ryan Donato.
That's it.
Correct.
All right, that's the breaking news.
Well,
here.
I hope that Coyle doesn't go to Providence because actually Donato's out of Providence, right?
Yeah, but that would have mattered.
I found it. Better late than never.
That's good.
Okay, we got to take a break, don't we, Dave?
I think it's a good idea.
Oh, boy, another good idea I had.
Well, we got a lot to cover. We still got to talk about our favorite, Cap. Is he a good fit? I'm sorry. Well, it's sports.
Yeah,
Look at
yes.
we're talking from a numbers standpoint. I say no.
All right, we'll talk about that when we come back from this break. Paul Ryan, Tommy Morgan, Dave Morrison, and Colin Kaepernick next. Only for a short period of time, believe me. We'll be back.
Good Sports will be right back. Get in on the act. Presents Good Sports with Paul Ryan and Tommy Morgan. Good Sports is sponsored in part by Haverhill attorney Gerard LaFlamme. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Back here, Good Sports, just past 6:30 here.
You're right.
It's another Wednesday night. Paul, myself, Tommy Morgan, and Dave Morrison on the ones and twos.
Hola.
It's too bad we didn't have that breaking news a little bit earlier, Dave.
Yeah,
That would've
sorry
been good.
about that.
That's all right.
Hell
Now
yeah.
we know.
Now I know.
Now we know. What do you got, Paul? You get a new license.
Yeah. Yeah. This is.
What do you do?
I want you to tell me which one's the new one. Don't look at the dates.
All right.
Hello?
This one's the new one right here.
You're right.
I know I
at
am.
the dates.
No, I didn't.
You did too.
No, I didn't.
It's the only way you could tell.
We are trading license photos like baseball cards for those listening on the radio, not watching on our Facebook stream, by the way.
You know how I knew it was newer?
Because
your hair's whiter.
It is. You're right.
Yeah. It's a good look for you, though.
That's all I got left.
A little more salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad from 5 years ago.
No, it's not bad at all.
Anyway, they told me I might have to get glasses. I should have got glasses 10 years ago. Good Lord. Anyway, back on the air here, Good Sports. Enough of looking at license pictures. But
although it is pretty sexy, kind of before and after. I mean, who doesn't want to just look at photos of their license photos? I mean, that's what normal people do.
It's the first time I've ever done it.
I mean, it's what normal people do all the time.
66 years old. I had my license since I was 16.
Really?
Yeah, that's 50 years.
How did you get into bars? They must have thought it would. That doesn't.
In.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, well.
How to get into bars? What you mean?
Well, I still get carded. I mean, I never used the same picture.
You still get carded?
I still get carded. Believe it or not.
You should never talk to the bouncer day before you go in.
No, they do this.
There's nothing to do with what you look like. They're reading your language. They're reading your content.
No, I don't even think it's that. I think they just do it because
you don't get carded anymore, Paul.
Me? Just at Boston Garden. Everybody does.
I think they do. Well, they do that because they want to follow the law.
No, I
led you back to your youth.
I could care less.
All right.
I was in South Carolina. They had some girl that had great eyesight. She carded me 4 years ago. Oh well. Anyway, that's the way it goes. All right, let's get back to the sports. Okay, Dave wants to talk about Colin Kaepernick. Go, Dave.
Well, I think it's just something that we got to talk about if we're going to talk about the New England Patriots, and it is a sports program. And again, I don't want to make a big deal out of this. Obviously,
I'd rather have Aaron Hernandez back.
No, you don't actually believe that,
Colin Kaepernick.
Do you actually believe that?
Yeah, I would. At least I know he's got a job in the offseason.
Well, he's dead, so.
Well, he's dead.
As a football,
so is in Kaepernick
as a football player, I would love to have Aaron Hernandez back. He
was a great one.
He was good.
I used to get amazed when they used to stick him at tailback and just toss it to him and let him go.
Yeah, he was
man amongst boys.
It was too bad he ruined his life. But in all seriousness, I don't see the point in bringing Colin Kaepernick here. What's the point? What's the reasoning?
You want to win games, but I agree with you. Looking at the stats,
what's he going to do?
He's going to do nothing.
He's going to sit on the bench.
So where's he going to play? Backup quarterback?
In his last 2 seasons, he was 3-16 as a starter, and as a career passer, 59.8. That's his percentage.
So we're on the same page then.
So we're all on the same page, but. Here's the thing, and I'm doing my Facebook live stream. Hello, everybody. And I know all my friends think, oh, this is awesome. And I'm not talking about the issues that Colin Kaepernick raised because I don't really want to get into that. I'm talking about as a passer. First off, between that, it just doesn't make any sense. And my girlfriend brought this up. He would be better suited in Oakland. Maybe not Oakland, but definitely Arizona.
I mean, I just feel like the Patriots are at a point right now where it looks to me like they got Brady for at least another 2 to 3 years. I mean, that number 45, it seems like it's a long ways away, but or it seems like it's a lot more years. But I feel like at this point, with the way that this offense has kind of transformed itself, I don't see why Brady couldn't play at least another 2 years. And I just think that bringing in kind of a personality like Colin Kaepernick, and obviously that's going to cause even more, I don't even want to call it distractions, but it's just going to cause unnecessary. Yeah, I'm going to call it.
It is a distraction.
Yeah, I'm going to call it.
But it is a business.
It is,
and it is entertainment, and we're supposed to be.
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think Colin Kaepernick should be without a job, because some of the names that have been floating around the league playing quarterback, Mark Sanchez and
Hunt
and all these other guys
getting re-signed in Cleveland.
There's obviously, he should have gotten a look by a team. I just don't think it's by the Patriots. That's all. I think maybe Oakland may be a good landing spot for him with
Buffalo.
A guy like John Gruden. Obviously it looks like they're on the outs with Derek Carr. Maybe even a team like the Giants who are trying to bridge Eli Manning right now.
That's what I was thinking. With Eli on the way out, I could see Colin Kaepernick there.
I feel like the Patriots are kind of in this awkward position of they don't really need a bridge quarterback as much as they need, to go get a guy that they really like in the draft and are able to bring him up and develop him under Brady. I just think Colin Kaepernick is not that guy.
I would be saying the same thing if it were Tim Tebow, which that turned out in training camp was not a good fit, numbers-wise. And people wanted him here in New England. How did that work out?
Well,
trusting the genius of Belichick.
Well, I don't think Tebow was ever going to be a guy who was going to make the roster here.
Well, there was a lot of people who disagreed, but
yeah, right. For me, I don't see the Kaepernick Patriots thing making sense at all. I think they're just at this point right now where it's like they just won the Super Bowl, and there's really no reason why they shouldn't go back there again if they can keep the majority of the pieces that they need together on this team. So it's just not a sensible move, in my opinion.
And obviously fans, especially football fans, and even fans around here, as much as I love being a homer, sometimes the fans really react. They have these knee-jerk reactions. When Colin Kaepernick took a knee 2 years ago, and everybody and Devin McCourty started taking knees in solidarity. Obviously, you can have your opinions, but people started burning their jerseys, and it was ridiculous. They started burning their Deron Harmons, and you know what? They all went back to the Patriots afterwards.
Right.
And people, they go on the internet, they go on Facebook with poor grammar, and they get angry. I'm never going to support the Crafts ever if they trade for Kaepernick or whatever. And it's so stupid because when the Patriots are back in the Super Bowl, they'll be right back with them. I mean, it's just people who have a knee-jerk reaction over everything, every little thing, because if it has to do with a hot political issue. And speaking of that, with Bob Kraft being friends with the president, how's that going to gel with Colin Kaepernick and his views?
Right.
You think that makes sense? Brady with the MAGA hat, and I don't care about anybody's views. I'm just saying, do you think from a logistical, reasonable standpoint that would mesh here in New England?
Bob Kraft might think about putting up a wall around Massachusetts. Believe me,
around Gillette Stadium, right? Around Route 1 in Foxborough,
right? Colin Kaepernick, he was a good baseball pitcher at Las Vegas when he went to college. He threw the heck out of the football.
That's right. I forgot about that, Paul.
Strong arm. But you know what? He burnt himself out. He's burnt out. If he plays for Harbaugh, he can play.
Right.
Seriously, Harbaugh made that kid a player.
Right.
And ran the right offense with him. He gave him that run pass option on the outside and ran a little, read option there with him and stuff like that. And then when he threw, he could throw it.
Right, to me,
it's a better franchise for him, I think.
Right, to me, it's just like the Patriots. The Patriots have done what they've done, for so long in their own system. Right, they've never really kind of wavered from what they want to do offensively or defensively. And I just don't think Kaepernick is the type of guy, from a schematic standpoint, that would come into New England and be able to fit into what we want to do. I think I would agree with Paul. I think he's, more for a guy maybe like John Gruden, who's not afraid to become a little bit creative offensively and run that read option and get the quarterback more involved with his legs. So, I think the Oakland point was a good idea or
credit to my girlfriend.
Right, to a good thought because I don't think John Gruden is, shying away from a player like that. And obviously, as I said, he's doesn't mind becoming creative and getting a little, putting a little pizzazz or flair into what he wants to do offensively.
And we'll even throw Carolina into the mix. You know why? Because whatever Cam Newton decides to do, maybe he gets injured, maybe he says something stupid to a reporter again, and he's on the way outs down there. So he would do well in any other market, just not around here.
Yeah,
he's got a better chance in Tampa.
Maybe New York Jets. We didn't even bring that up.
Nah,
Jameis Winston's got a better chance of saying something stupid.
Not in New York, not in the Jets.
The more I think,
Jameis Winston.
No, we're talking about Cap still.
The more I think about it, I feel like a market outside of, say, like New York is best for Colin Kaepernick. Somewhere where he can kind of go and hide a little bit. Not a lot of media attention.
How about Bolivia?
I'd say maybe someone like Cincinnati. I don't know what their plans are with Andy Dalton. I'm trying to. I just don't really I don't really know a team that is kind of in dire need of a quarterback other than like the New York Giants, but they got the 6th overall pick and are probably going to go get Dwayne Haskins. So it's like, all these teams. While obviously Kaepernick would probably be a serviceable backup, unlike other guys like Mark Sanchez and things like, people like that. I just don't think he's a starter in the NFL, and I think I think Colin Kaepernick and the NFL have kind of, agreed to part ways, and that's going to be the end of it, and that's how I see it ending.
And it's just so weird to see him come back after that whole knockdown, drag-out battle between him and the NFL, which, by the way, Cap, whether or not you agree with him, Colin Kaepernick won.
Right.
But it's just going to feel so weird watching him come back, and even he knows in his mind that this just doesn't feel right, and he's best served using his celebrity as an ambassador for social justice.
In this world of being honest and upfront and this and that and allegedly, but all this politically correct stuff, which we're trying to wash out of this nation of ours because it's just too much for me. It's too much for a lot of people. I just think that Colin Kaepernick, if he was a devout believer in his thoughts and his beliefs of this country in his mind, he would have turned down the money from the NFL and said, no, I don't want that money. I want to sign a contract with a football team. I want to play football and get paid for it.
Right.
But they caved. The NFL caved. They caved. Roger Goodell should be fired. And the thing is, 32 teams kicked in on that $68 million.
Yeah.
They all caved like dominoes.
I know we got to go to break, but, just a quick point to that. It really, him taking the money, I guess, it just feels like he was never in it to play football again, right? That's the way that I see it. It's like, you could have. Obviously, the NFL is going to cave because they want, they need, whether they were right or wrong, we'll never know because they settled. But it does feel, it does have that feel like he never actually wanted to play football.
Right, and they could have said, okay, we'll give you $68 million for over 4 years. Okay, you're going to Oakland and try out. We've made a deal with Oakland for you,
right? Like
that. We're representing you. Like that, your attorney will step in, your agent, and this and that. They could have done that with the $68 million. All right, but please, they just handed the guy $68 million. And what about the other guy? Who was the defensive back? Reed.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't he's back in?
I didn't see anything about the settlement money with him. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but he's back in, right? He got a 3-year deal with. He signed a 3-year contract.
Yeah, I didn't see with who.
Yeah, I forget who. Oh, it wasn't Kansas City. No. I forget who. I'm sorry. We can look it up during the news break at 7. But anyway, so we touched on Colin Kaepernick. All right. I'll tell you, I could really use a hot fudge sundae. I'll tell you. What's so funny?
I could use one too.
I know that. That's why I brought it
I could use some Sudafed right now or some hot tea.
Yeah, you sound awful.
Thank you.
Well, you do.
No, I feel awful. I had a fever this morning, so I took the day off, even though I know I wasn't supposed to. Well, no, I went from 99.1 to 98.6.
Well, don't kiss me.
Dayquil.
Like you usually do when I leave at night. So.
Is that what I do?
Wow.
Passionate Greeks.
I hope you feel better.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. I am starting to feel better.
And then now that we're on news items, we're gonna go to Chicago. All right.
After the break.
Oh, we're on break now?
That's why then the whole.
I didn't see it.
I
was blocked out.
Okay, sorry.
All right, we're taking a break. We'll be back. We're going to Chicago after this during the football season. Where we used to go, Tommy? Used to go to Houston. All right, we'll be right back.
Good Sports will be right back. Get in on the action. Call. By Haverhill attorney Gerard LaFlamme. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Practicing. Back here at the Edwin V. Johnson studio, where it's Wednesday evening in the dead of winter, late February, and the birds are starting to chirp a little more in the mornings. That's a good sign if they aren't frozen solid on the branch. But then again, that's winter in New England. You know,
wait 5 minutes, right?
Wait 5 minutes. I've been waiting 5 months. I've had it with this.
5 months feels like 5 years around these parts.
I went to Florida there a month ago. I'm thinking of going back next. I can go back and go to work next week down there for 2 months. I can work for 2 months at the Westchester Country Club.
Are you just going to have a little studio built in where you're going to come and do the show Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. right here?
I'll do it on my phone.
You're just going to do it in your robe, and you're going to...
My robe. I don't have a robe.
I'm just saying.
Jeez, don't build me up to be something that looks like Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh, no, I was thinking more along the lines that you'll just become a recluse like Bobby Fischer.
Bobby Fischer. That's where I'm going up to Reykjavik.
All right.
I'm going to hang out there with all those vodka drinkers.
All right.
That's the number
Reykjavik, isn't that in Iceland?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where him and Boris Spassky.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Okay. You know your history.
Well, I know some history. But anyway.
We know that Jussie Smollett, his career is history.
Well, let's put it this way. You know, the sad part about this whole thing, I think the kid is extremely paranoid. I think he had paranoia coming out his ears about losing his spot on Empire.
I've never seen the show. I've heard of it.
I've never seen it, and I know that I didn't hear a determination on him. They came out today and said that he was not being let go. They said they were going to film nine more spots and 9 more shows, and he was going to be out of 4 of them. But it wasn't because of any disciplinary action. It was going to be because he need not be in those scenes or whatever. I never knew. I don't even know what the show is, so maybe I'm just talking out of the...
I can explain it to you. So Empire...
Don't explain it.
But for anybody that hasn't... I've heard the show. A lot of people... and let's be honest, it is a show that is targeted in terms of demographics towards people of color. Now, I certainly do not watch the show. I know people who are, like me, mixed race, color, black,
what difference does it make, right?
Well, actually there are differences, but there are distinctions.
What difference does it make to you?
You watch, right? No, I don't. That's the thing. I mean, we don't all watch the same thing, but I know the show. It's it has an African American demographic target, and it has all the usual tropes. It's a family in Atlanta with a high African American population, and it's a music industry family, and there's the usual drama. Again, all the tropes that are related to the community, and it is very popular. It's not like
I'm sure it is.
In those communities, and so a lot of people who are white watch the show. They usually may be married to somebody who is black. And that's pretty much.
Or maybe they just like the show.
Maybe they have there you go. But it isn't a show that is targeted, towards towards a certain demographic. And so when I first heard the story, I was shocked like everybody else. I thought, well, he was definitely attacked, but the way by a bunch of MAGA hats, it didn't add up. You know, maybe there was something else to it. But now that I've read all the details, it just seems really, really shocking.
Well, I think that I haven't heard any of the pundits on TV or like that say anything. I've heard it morning, noon, and night. You know, you hear reports on it that the young man is paranoid. I think he is paranoid.
I mean, this is just mental illness to the extreme.
Well, I think it's somewhat along those lines. And the paranoia, I think, I think he never probably had any self-confidence growing up. And
well, he's a child actor. He was he was one of the Mighty Ducks. Well, he was in the first Mighty Ducks. Yeah, he was a child star.
Well, it still doesn't mean he had all the confidence in the world. Because in the movie industry and the industry of Hollywood, it's step by step. You know, you're here that one day, you're gone the next, and never seen again.
That's true.
But the thing is, I think the paranoia factor. I think he's always looking over his shoulder, wondering who's taking my place. Who's taking my place? He always needed the attention. He wanted to make sure the name was out there, his brand. So he did a terrible thing by, allegedly he sent this letter to himself. And the sad part about it is, and we're going to close it out with this, is that if he didn't get found out, he was going to let those two young men that he paid to do this, he was going to let them go to jail.
Yeah, that just blows my mind.
That's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
And these were extras on the show.
Right. And I'll tell you right now, if you saw pictures of these two young men, if they did assault him, he'd be dead on the street in Chicago. These guys were built like linebackers. They were big, big guys. I mean, big. Rugged, cut like you wouldn't believe, like you, Tommy. And like you wouldn't believe, like I said. And
Tommy, what were you doing in Chicago 3 a.m.?
No.
You were hankering for some Subway.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a sad story because it was unnecessary. And I hope that somebody learns a lesson here. And
I think nobody's going to learn a lesson. It's just going to be a distraction.
Well, no, there's going to be a lesson because if he ends up going to jail for 3 years,
he won't go to jail. He'll just go to rehab.
If he's found guilty on the federal charge, which is over and above this, the federal charge being the mail charge, okay, if he's found guilty on that, he could end up going to jail for 7 to 10 years total. So they don't fool around, if people think you're sending ricin on an envelope, they take that pretty seriously.
Well, that's the thing. The way he sent a letter, it's a federal charge, and they don't mess around when it comes to the federal.
You know that he put bufferin or whatever on the letter, on the envelope.
Oh, I didn't know that, but yeah that would make sense. He's cooked.
That's a terrorist act.
I would think so.
That's known as a terrorist act because you are frightening the individual. Unfortunately, he only frightened himself because he mailed it to himself. Genius.
I mean,
anyway, he was upset because it didn't get enough recognition.
That's too bad. And he also got arrested about 10 years ago for a DUI in Los Angeles, and he gave a false name to police.
Yeah,
a misdemeanor.
The name he gave to police was his brother's name.
Yeah, that's too bad.
And he wasn't going to change on that either.
Yeah, it's too bad. That family was very, very talented. I know his sister, Journey Smollett, she was on a bunch of shows. I think she was on Full House. She was Michelle Tanner's friend for a while, Denise.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a well-talented family, but I hope he gets the help that he needs in prison or whatever he decides to do, because this has just been a waste of time from the real issues that we are facing today.
He's going to spend a lot of sad nights, that's for sure. But that's enough of that. Good luck to the young man. I hope everybody gets worked out over this, and I hope it straightens out.
And it just takes away from real victims, just closing out on that, because there are people who are really attacked,
right?
Regardless of what the circumstances are. This is just ridiculous. It makes it harder for victims to come forward and be believed. So he did a real disservice.
Yeah, he did. He did. He knows that, I think, now. He's got to be thinking that now. He's probably standing in a jail cell in Chicago headquarters.
I think he's still free.
No, he's
he's arrested? Oh, he's being held?
They changed the whole story just before we went on the air.
Do I need to break out the breaking news sounder?
No. He's now considered suspect. He's a suspect. He's no longer a victim. or a person of interest or whatever they were calling them. But
Jeez.
we're close to news time. Tommy, where you been?
Just had to use the bathroom, make a quick phone call.
Okay.
You don't go to the bathroom to make a phone call. That's for outside. We're in the lobby.
No, I went to the bathroom and then used my phone outside of the bathroom.
Ah, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See.
Dave.
I didn't want to interrupt the show.
Yes, Paul?
And I honestly I don't know much about this topic, so I felt like it was okay that I wasn't in on it.
I'm glad you went in.
I didn't want to speak on a topic I wasn't too aware of.
I had my hands full of Dave.
But you manned the ship well.
Yeah, I just, I don't want to cross the line on anybody here. I just want to tell, it's a sad thing.
It's a sketchy
my
story.
whole outlook is I think he's paranoid. And I'm getting paranoid because it's time to take a break for news. And we're in the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom. It's Paul Ryan, Tommy Morgan. We'll be back with more good sports right after the 7 o'clock news. We'll be right back.
It's 7:01.
WHAV LP Haverhill.
978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Back here, Edwin V. Johnson, Newsroom. Paul Ryan, Tommy Morgan, Dave Morrison, and the Celtics. Still wearing the green, still having the soap opera. And he goes to Charlotte, and he was happy as a lark with all those boys down there.
I know, right? It's like, oh God,
it's like he got cured from something. You know, I'll tell you, he's useless to me. I said that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
he's useless to me as a person. I think he's a terrible, terrible, terrible person.
You know, to me, I think there were a couple things that stood out, and one of them was his interview. He did an interview just before the All-Star game, you know, and obviously the question was raised about his knee and his injury, and you know, he went on to talk about how he's, you know, feeling good, and you know, but there was something that kind of stood out to me, and it was like, you know, he talked about how much work he put in to play in the All-Star game, and it's like, why? You know what I mean? Like, why are you putting in so much work just to be able to go on to, you know, play a game that means absolutely nothing? You know, and you sit out 2 games before the All-Star break, you know, for your real team, you know, and then you need to go talk about all the work that you put in just to be able to go lace it up and run around for an exhibition game. You know, it's just, it's not a good situation that the Celtics are in right now. Obviously, he's put the Celtics in this situation. You know, he comes out just before the start of the season and says that he plans on re-signing. And then obviously, you know, there's rumors running around, you know, throughout the media about Anthony Davis not wanting to come to Boston because Kyrie, you know, there's thoughts that Kyrie isn't going to re-sign. And you know, Kyrie had the opportunity. He was asked in New York right before they played the Knicks, you know, about those rumors, and he chose not to double down on what he said at the beginning of the year, and that's all he had to do. That's all he had to do was say that, you know, I said what I said at the beginning of the season, and I stand by that. And instead he said, ask me on July 1st, and it's like, you know, why? At this point, I don't care if he re-signs with the Celtics or not. I do care if he re-signs because I think he's an important piece to this team going forward and being able to acquire another talent like Anthony Davis. But if you're unsure, like, just don't say anything, right? Just go about your year, play the year out with the team, and then we'll talk to you on July 1st. Like, don't make it you create, as much as he wants to blame the media for creating these stories, he created it because he's the one who said he was going to resign.
He's using the media, plain and simple.
Right, like he's the one pointing the finger at the media saying it's all your fault, but no, it's not. It's your fault. You're the one who said you were going to resign, and then all these rumors start happening, and all you have to do to make the media go away is say that you're going to resign, that what you said at the beginning of the year was what you meant.
When they stick a microphone in front of him, he starts. He has no idea what he's saying.
He has no clue.
He has no clue. And I can tell you this, that, you know, you said he's a key piece. You know, you'd like to see him resign because he's a key piece to all the work that Danny Ainge has done to put it together and so forth like that. But he's taking playing time away from people that want to play in Boston, and they have no qualms about it. Aren't making a soap opera out of this season, and he's just a detractor. I mean,
yeah.
If the league is, I'll tell you right now, 20 years ago, Larry Bird would have knocked this guy out 5 times already,
right?
Easily.
You know, and then I don't know if you saw it. I caught a little bit of it. He did an interview with Rachel Nichols, and you know, kind of rehashed his phone call with LeBron James, and you know, he went back and kind of doubled down on the young kids, and he talked about Terry Rozier, and he talked about Jaylen Brown, and you know how these guys are, you know, in a tough spot right now. They played last year with him out, and you know they feel like they deserve more. Terry Rozier feels like he deserves more minutes, and it seems like he's, you know, going back to like pointing the finger at the young kids for and I can't blame a guy like Terry Rozier. He goes in and he has a really great playoffs, and he was a key part to the run that they went on. And yeah, is Terry Rozier Kyrie Irving? No, he's not. So obviously he's going to lose minutes to a guy like that. But I mean, like, I don't know how you can sit there and point the finger at a guy like Terry Rozier and say, Kyrie Irving's like, well, I was, young at one point and didn't play. Like, no, you weren't, dude. You were the number 1 overall pick. You went to a team that sucked, and you were the starting point guard of that team. You know what I mean? Like, your situation and Terry Rozier's situation is completely different. And, as much as I'd like Terry Rozier to be more of a team guy, and I think that he should be, but you don't sit there, Kyrie Irving, and point your finger at Terry Rozier and say that he needs to be more like you. Right? What is that going to solve? That doesn't solve anything. Terry Rozier can look at you and say, F you, dude. I was the starting point guard for a team that, should have been in the NBA Finals without you. Right? So, and then same thing with guys like Jaylen Brown, and it's like at this point, and at the beginning of the year, like, Jaylen Brown was a press clippings guy and read his own press clippings and said we're going to go to the finals and all this. And, as much as you don't want to see a guy say that and read their own press clippings, now I'm like, I totally get why Jaylen Brown is doing this. Like, Kyrie Irving is coming in and trying to, say you do this and you do that. Like, screw. Look at what we did last year without you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm totally kind of starting to realize what these guys are going through with Kyrie Irving in that locker room.
The Celtics got themselves into this thing. I said it last week on these same airwaves, that by coddling him, was the exact word we used. By coddling him, they created this. And what has it gotten them? It's gotten them some fire ants running up their legs, biting them every time he can, okay? And what's the story? They go to Philadelphia for a key game, manless of him, and who else was sitting out that night?
I think it was just him that night.
No, Rozier. Was it Rozier?
No, I think Rozier sat out the second night. They played Philadelphia, and then it was a back-to-back against the Clippers. I'm pretty
Saturday
no,
night.
They lost
No.
to the Clippers.
Yeah, the Clippers they lost. That was Saturday night. Friday night was Philadelphia.
I'll look it up.
But anyway, they get down to Philly, all right? He's so banged up, so hurt. He's in traction in the hospital, right? He must be, because he can't go to Philadelphia to sit on the bench to give his team support. And the Celtics, shame on Danny Ainge, shame on the coach, shame on ownership. Your money is getting thrown out the window with this guy. They have allowed this to fester. They allowed it to fester. Now it's a flaming 4-alarm fire, and there ain't no putting it out either.
Yeah.
Because you know why? The source of the flames is out of control. He doesn't know what he's doing.
I know, and it's like, he obviously, I don't know if you saw it, but there was there was some media reports. He was in the hallway at the NBA All-Star game, kind of yucking it up with Kevin Durant. Completely like harmless stuff. And obviously, the media is going to read into that. That's what the media is. That's their job, right? To speculate and try to dig for information. And he fired back, and he was like, that's a conversation between me and a guy who's one of my really good friends, and blah blah blah. Like, just totally just whining about it. And I feel like that he's just been on the defensive all year of the media, and like you said, it's all because of him. It is all because of him. He fired back at the young guys after the loss in Orlando. There was clearly a blowout between him and Gordon Hayward and Brad Stevens because of the play at the end of that game. They didn't get him the ball. And then, he comes back and, like, he's trying to be, like, this whole, philosophical, specimen in the locker room. And it's like, dude, just shut up. Just play basketball. These young kids will follow your example if you go out there and you play the game the way you can play. Score the basketball, pass the basketball, rebound the basketball. That's all you have to do. And everybody else will say, okay, this is the example that we need to follow. Look at how hard our best player is playing. And that's what carries a team. I don't care what sport it is. When your best player puts in the work and does the job the right way, that is what motivates and carries a team forward. Not him sitting to the media and trying to say, "Oh, well, when I was 20 years old and blah blah blah." Like, no, this team did a really, really good thing without you. If they had you, yes, you were going to the finals last year. This team needs you, but. Right, don't sit there and patronize these guys for the way that they feel about their minutes and their playing time, because they're good players too.
Well, the thing is, Tommy, you and I went out to the break at 7 o'clock news. And we were walking back in to the studio, and you said to me, "What do you want to go with first, Patriots or Celtics?" We went with the Celtics. We were on now for 12 minutes. We never talked about bouncing the ball, rebounding the ball, somebody shooting well. We talked about what we talked about.
I know.
That's how much of a distraction Kyrie is.
Yep.
He's got to go.
Yep.
We'll be back right after this break.
Good Sports will be right back. Get it. Sports is sponsored in part by Haverhill attorney Gerard LaFlamme. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
All right, back here at the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom. Where is it? Oh, Eddie's on the other side of the door. That's right. I say goodbye to him when I leave. He's a great man. He was my public speaking teacher, and obviously it paid off dividends for me. I'm in front of a microphone that Eddie probably spoke into years ago.
I think he winked at you. I saw it. A little twinkle in his eye.
Yeah, he's a good man. Real good man. He was funny. He got it, boy, I'll tell you.
No, I believe he was.
He got it. He got it.
I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to meet
He was
him.
one of the greatest ball busters of all time. Believe me.
And we can say that. We'll let that slide.
He had things go over people's head, and the guys that got it, like the rest of the guys that were sitting with me, and some of the girls that sat with us, we were laughing, and people couldn't figure out why we were laughing, but it was just, he was a scream. Ed Johnson, good man. Anyway, Thomas, we talked about basketball, but we didn't mention anything about, like I said, scoring, rebounding, boxing out, defense, turnovers. Why would we talk about that? We're talking about the Celtics. We're talking about the Celtics, brought to you by Dove Soap. That's right. And tomorrow's episode will be Kyrie goes to Danny's office and gives him an ultimatum. I want to play with two right sneakers. Go right ahead.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Yeah. Anyway, so I told you, off the air before we went on the air tonight, Tommy. I've got this. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm being rekindled the flame about the Patriots, which I never lost. I mean, but I just got a feeling, and this is without even talking to people that much about it, but I think the media locally, I think people are already thinking about, next year's Super Bowl. Did Gronk make a decision? I know he's been hanging around. He hasn't said anything yet.
I haven't seen anything yet, and quite honestly, the longer that he holds out, the more I feel like he's going to come back.
I think they're trying to work out a schedule with him that saves him. I think,
right now, I think he's a player that the Patriots want to see back. I think we got a phone call, but I don't know where David went.
Dave's right here. Dave's cleaning up some things, loose ends.
We got a call?
Yeah, we got Eddie, I believe.
Eddie.
Oh, Eddie, yeah. Eddie,
you there?
Eddie?
Eddie, you there? Hello, Eddie.
All right, we'll try to get Eddie back on.
Yeah, call us back, Eddie.
Please.
So, anyways, as I was saying, I think Gronk is, and there were so many emotions last year with this Patriots team, and it's obviously it's really incredible that Patriots team won a Super Bowl. I mean, probably one of the better, if not a top 3 accomplishment for Bill Belichick in his coaching career to get that team to a title and to win one. But when you finally get to take a step back and take a deep breath and really look back on that season, it certainly wasn't a season that you would say, Rob Gronkowski had a Gronk sort of year, right? They relied a lot on him on the line of scrimmage in the run game. Wasn't that force down the middle of the field, down the seam. But I think there's one thing that you can look back on that season with Gronk, and it's that he was always there and ready to make a play in the big spot. Always.
Every play he
made. Can go back. You can go back to Week 6, when they played Kansas City and they needed a drive to go down and kick a game-winning field goal. And who does Brady go to? Rob Gronkowski down the hash. To set up, get him into field goal territory to win the game. And then you look through that playoff run in Kansas City, a drive that you had to have. You go down over the top to Rob Gronkowski, he makes a play. It just seemed like any time that there was a big sort of play, it was the 3 guys that you could rely on year in and year out with this team, Gronk, Edelman, and Brady. And I think those are consistencies that you need to keep. I'm not saying that Rob Gronkowski is going to come back next year and set the world on fire. I think you'll see a lot of what you saw this year, but I think from keeping the glue of that team together, he's a guy that you got to get back.
Absolutely, and I think they're working on something down there with the training staff, himself, the coaches, and saying, all right, look, we don't want you to retire. We want you here playing football for us, but we want you playing football. We don't want you icing yourself on the sideline with the milk squad doing nothing, in the trainer's room all the time. We want you, playing out on the field, whether it be blocking in key situations or making key catches like you did for us all year long. When we needed it, you were there. I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to work out some kind of a schedule that softens the blow for him over due time, okay? Take the stress times, shorten them, and then take the rest times and lengthen them, okay? But keep him in shape. Obviously, his cardio is got to be there, and it will be.
Yeah, and I think he's due about $9 million next year, and
he earned it a couple of weeks ago.
I would agree with you, but I think for the type of player that he is, and how Belichick is with contracts and things like that, I could see them trying to rework some sort of a deal with him, maybe getting him a little bit more guaranteed money, but not as much. Probably not as much money. Maybe say like $5 or $6 million, all guaranteed.
Did they have any incentives on his contract this year?
Yeah, he was heavy.
No, wait. Did they have? I know it was heavy on incentives. Did they have any on clutch blocks?
No.
Blocks of sprung running backs for big gains, 10-yard, 15-yard gains?
Yeah, you wish that they would have, because
maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're looking at film now and restructuring.
Yeah, he would have hit them all if that was the case. But I think that he's at the point in his career where he's not really going to set those record-setting incentives that they thought or that he once did. So I could see something like that. I feel like Gronkowski, he hasn't been a guy that has always been about money. It's obvious that he wants to win games, and he wants to win championships, and he's been able to do that here. He's got a 3-time Super Bowl champion. But I could see maybe a little bit more security for him. Some less money, right? And as opposed, 6 as opposed to 9, but maybe say that $6 million is completely guaranteed. So if he sits out a game, he's not missing out on a paycheck, something like that. And then you look at a guy on the Edelman, right? What a season that he ended up having, especially down the stretch. Just absolutely incredibly clutch. I mean, just talk about a guy who is so reliable.
Locked in, concentration at the maximum. You talk about at the pinnacle of his game. The concentration's unbelievable.
Right, and that's a guy who's only making $5 million a year. So, maybe you look at Edelman and you want to maybe boost him up a little bit more. Maybe say, give him 2 years and throw an extra $4 or $5 million on it. Because I think you need to reward those guys. They've been the pinnacle of this team for a number of years, and they've always been there and made game-winning plays for you. And I think it's time to definitely reward a guy like Edelman. I think there's a lot of pieces there that are championship caliber that you need to keep. Trey Flowers being another one. I think Trent Brown at the left tackle position is another one. Those are 2 key guys that I think the Patriots need to go out and get and be sure that they can keep in the free agent market, because they're both top 15 free agents right now in the market.
Right, you're right. And Antonio Brown, you think you'd like to see him in New England?
No, it's funny you ask that, because there's the trade circuit going around again of Odell Beckham Jr.
Right.
and the Patriots linked again. And, as talented as those guys are, I just think schematically where the Patriots are at in terms of offense, I just don't see that, I don't want to say that they wouldn't help the offense.
Golden Tate would.
Right. I think a guy like that is more of what you're looking for right now. A guy who runs crisp routes, catches the ball, can get a lot of targets, and
he's disciplined.
And
it's not about him. He knows what he has to do to play.
Right. A guy that can make plays and attack the middle of the field is who you're looking for in this offense right now. I mean, I know Chris Hogan is not a Odell Beckham or Antonio Brown player, but you didn't see much use for those guys throughout the year, like him and Philip Dorsett. And one area that can kind of prove where the Patriots are going is when we had Josh Gordon, you saw Brady kind of forcing it outside and trying to get it to him. And when he left, right, that identity of the offense really came together.
Right.
Run the football, play action, attack the middle of the field.
Yeah.
They
would have beat the Packers in '67. I'll tell you. They were tough. Tough, both sides of the ball.
I mean, if the Patriots were able to, offer a deal to the Giants that, a first round and a third round pick, and you were able to get Odell, and you could, the Giants, I believe they would probably be eating somewhere around, the way I read it today was before June 1st would be about $16 million in dead cap space. After the second half of that, I don't know what they call it. I'll just call it the year.
Yeah, right.
It would be about $4 million in dead cap space. So, I just don't know if that's the sort of player that the Patriots are going to need to help them right now.
Well, the best catch made in the whole playoffs. You're probably thinking now. You're looking at Edelman go through your eyes and Gronk and this and that. Dorsett's catch against Kansas City was beautiful. A fabulous catch when he boxed out the defender. That's textbook receivership right there as far as showing how to do it. He backed his way in to the defensive back, boxed him out like a basketball rebounder, and when the ball just was right there.
Yeah, fell into his lap.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And I'd rather see him because I tell you, he can give you breakaway speed, and he hasn't been used enough, I don't think. And I do not want to see Patterson going anywhere.
So
I want Patterson on that team. I'll tell you why. He almost broke the opening kickoff in the Super Bowl.
I know he did. He's a guy that I think the Patriots. I know we got to go to a break, and we can take this into the next half. But he's a guy that obviously you could rely on to play hard. But I also think he's a guy that is expendable for this team right now, because I think there are other areas of need that they'll need to fill. But like I said, we can carry this over.
Right. We'll talk more about the Pats after this break. And Dave.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the calls. We're trying to figure that out, so we apologize. So anybody on hold?
Obviously, it's you.
No, it is me. So
all right.
We'll try to figure it out.
That's it. Good.
We'll try. We'll come back.
Sabotage the show, kid.
That's my goal. Yep.
That boy. You're doing well, I'll tell you.
Oh,
this
sure.
is grade A.
Yeah, great.
We'll be right back. Don't call in.
Good Sports will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978. FM presents Good Sports with Paul Ryan and Tommy Morgan. Good Sports is sponsored in part by Haverhill attorney Gerard LaFlamme. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Back here at the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom. Paul Ryan, Tommy Morgan, Dave Morrison. Listen, Eddie had called in and we couldn't get the call to the. I fixed the problem.
I fixed
the problem.
I
while
should.
We were
That's
taking
on
a break, and we apologize, but we want you to call back. Please do. All right. It wouldn't be a week without you on the line with us, Eddie. Please call back. David won't be handling this incoming call. David has been jettisoned to his car in the parking lot. So please
true,
call
you know.
back. Go outside, Tommy. Go outside and check and see if David's trying to get in, because I know that he carries.
I locked the door behind us. We're good.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Little boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
That was me.
Okay, Dave. Is he calling?
He's probably home and eating dinner now.
Well, I haven't heard the
Okay.
phone ring.
Missed his chance.
Yeah. It's all right, Eddie.
Oh, Eddie, it's all right. Enjoy your meal. Don't choke it down because of us. Believe me. It's all right. You hiring at work? Dave Morrison's looking for a job.
I think I got a Five Guys cheeseburger at home waiting for me.
Oh, there's a surprise. How did we can't go to all.
Somebody else was asking if we were doing trivia tonight.
Is that Eddie?
Well, no, it wasn't Eddie. It was somebody else. They were asking if we were going to do Five Guys trivia. I mean, not Five Guys. It's one of your trivia questions.
Chick-fil-A?
Paul.
I'll do Chick-fil-A trivia.
Do we still have any of those cards?
I don't know.
Unless
Tell
you
me.
got them all.
I haven't touched them.
Yeah, they're still here. Yeah, please. All right, yeah, I'll do it. As a matter of fact, I had a trivia question yesterday. I was riding in my car. I came up with one. But I know there's only one person out here who get this answer. But I'll tell you right now, I'm giving this question, under a pretense. The pretense is you have to call within the next 25 seconds after I ask the question. You have 25 seconds to get through.
Okay.
The New York Football Giants had a quarterback back in the mid-'60s, early '60s, mid-'60s. Split his head open when he gets sacked once, bleeding like a sieve. He had two initials that were set in front of his last name. What did the two initials represent? Call right now and you get a Chick-fil-A. Don't delay. Don't go Googling me, because I'll tell you right now, I know what's going on out there. I can see you. Listen, here's the story. I know what his name represents. I know it, but you'll never get it. If you're not somebody, I know Eddie and Methuen, don't try to pull the wool over my eyes. You're not taking your wife to dinner to Chick-fil-A again on me. That's it. Hurry up, dial the phone. Let's go. Let's see if anybody out there knows. They won't even, I'll tell you right now, they won't even know how to spell the names.
When are you going to give us the answer? Right before we end the show?
No, I'll give it as soon as no one calls, which is, we're not going to get any calls. Like I said, 25 seconds. It's already been 31 seconds. Yeah, I'm going by the digital over here, Tom.
Yeah.
See, I count.
You're watching the clock. You're not counting.
Well, I have to count. I have to know where I started from.
I know where we started from.
Well, what number?
7:38 on the nose.
No, the seconds.
Yeah, I know. That's
I
what,
said
so it's been
25 seconds.
It's been 58 seconds.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's 60.
All right, so
That's it. It's over. I win. The winning name is Yalberton. No, it was Y.A. Tittle. Yalberton Abraham Tittle. That was his name.
That just sounds like
He
a
was
1900s name.
King of New Zealand and played quarterback for the Giants. It sounds like a king.
Sounds like somebody who was born at the turn of the
He had
century.
a splitting cut. I remember laying on the field bleeding. I tell you, I used to watch the New York Giants every Sunday when I was a kid because that's all we got.
Really?
Oh, my God. It was like right after church, come home, have a nice pastrami sandwich for lunch.
Well, that's true.
And lay there on the living room floor watching the Giants.
Well, you laugh, Tommy, but that's a lot
And
of what a lot of people here in New England did because the Patriots didn't come in.
Eight pastrami sandwiches?
Well, maybe not
What are you talking
pastrami's.
about?
Maybe they didn't adopt Paul Ryan's diet, but come on, they did watch the New York Giants because the New England Patriots didn't come into existence until 1959 when they were the Boston Patriots, and so the New York Football Giants were the team.
That's all we had.
Giant
They
Glass.
were on Channel 5.
Remember Giant Glass? I think
it
they
was
got
5.
bought out, but
They did by
Safelite. Yeah, but Giant Glass that was named after the New.
Safelite replace.
That was
right.
the guy who owned Giant Glass, who used to sit behind home plate at
Dennis
Fenway.
Drinkwater.
Dennis Drinkwater.
Friend of mine.
He is really.
Yeah, I know Dennis.
Oh wow,
Great guy.
Can't
Yeah.
get us any tickets though, huh?
New York Football Giants fan. And if you go down, and there are still a lot of people who won't root for the Patriots, who are old enough to remember the New York Giants. They love the Red Sox and the Celtics and the Bruins, but they will not root for the Patriots because the Giants were their team.
It's too bad.
Well, no, it's just tradition. I mean,
No,
because
he,
it's too bad.
Dennis Drinkwater held
Traditions are meant to be broken, David.
Dennis Drinkwater held the record for most consecutive games attended by a New York Giants fan, home and away.
Really?
He went to 253 straight games, whether they played at home or away.
He's been forking over those Red Sox tickets behind the plate a lot more, I've noticed over the years. He hasn't given any to you?
I don't ask. I don't run into him.
Give me his number. I'm calling him.
Oh, why don't you just go see him?
Where is he at?
I'm not saying. Find him. You get free time. You always find food. You should be able to find Dennis Drinkwater. Listen now. Dennis is very particular about who sits in those seats, and he's very particular about there's no cell phones. No cell phones. And he gets mad. If you're in the front row, foul ball comes back at you. If you do the duck,
no good?
No good. NG. Believe me, Dennis is a great guy. He's a funny guy. But good man. Good man. And he used to take Eddie Tompkins. He used to be the pro at Crystal Springs when I was playing golf up there. God rest his soul, Eddie. We all miss him, I'll tell you.
Quick correction, sorry to interrupt, Paul, but Dennis Drinkwater was not the guy with the headphones who sat behind home plate at Fenway Park. It was somebody else. I forget that person's name.
I know.
It looks like him, but it's not.
His name is...
it would be for me to look up during the break.
Yeah, find it out. I know his name, but Jason? Yeah. Jason something. His first name is Jason, I believe. Anyway, what's his name's always at the games? Joseph Aboud. Mm-hmm. You always see him. When there's a right-handed batter up, they take the angle like this. You can see Joseph Aboud. He's got seats behind at third base, dugout. But enough of fan viewing. I told a story about I'm the only one that had the name mentioned on the PA system. Paul Ryan, Haverhill, Massachusetts. Well, anyway, we're going to take a quick break because...
no, I found the guy.
Jason...
Capstein,
yeah.
Jason Capstein.
Yeah. That's him.
Impressive.
Jeremy Capstein.
Jeremy Capstein.
Good
teamwork, guys. Good sport.
Yeah,
good teamwork.
Yeah, I did it myself.
I got the last name.
Again. And I fixed the phone for Eddie to call. Eddie, all right, Eddie, put the ribs down. Let's go. I'm sick of talking to these two guys here. I'd like to talk to you. Give me a call, Eddie. I'll give you a Chick-fil-A. We'll do it on the slide. We won't let your wife know you got the Chick-fil-A. We'll run the bootleg, the naked bootleg. We'll give you the handoff. We'll run the Statue of Liberty for the chicken sandwich. All right. We'll be right back after this.
Good Sports will be right back. Get in on the... Good Sports with Paul Ryan and Tommy Morgan. Good Sports is sponsored in part by Haverhill attorney Gerard LaFlamme. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
And we are back here at the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom. This is Tommy Morgan, accompanied by Dave Morrison at the moment. Paul Ryan is running around
He's looking for Eddie's number.
Yeah, he's been searching for Eddie's number high and low. Can't find it.
Well, we can take calls again. So 978-374-1900. We had a little bit of a technical snafu. It ain't perfect, folks, but that's radio.
That is the number. How we doing, Paul? We get it.
Paul's walking in like Paul Bunyan, not Paul Ryan. He's just like, you can't see it. Well, actually, maybe you can on the Facebook live stream.
Paul Bunyan, huh?
You're walking like you have tree trunk arms.
Huh?
You're walking like this.
You could put the headphones on.
Yeah, a little bit. You're just strutting it. Look at you.
Hey, you do got a little pep in your step tonight.
Who, me?
You just go. You get out of the gym.
I was there today.
Yeah.
No, I didn't go today.
No.
I don't want to lie on the air. Somebody might be listening that knows I didn't go.
I am.
I'm going tomorrow.
I got to tell you, I am dying to play golf.
Yeah.
I am dying.
Me too. I could use $50.
You really lost your check?
No.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, I put of all places I found it.
Oh,
My
listen,
wallet.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
So you obviously heard about that story about Matt Kuchar, right, and his caddy down in Mexico.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
Well, my initial thought. This is my initial answer. I said they made an agreement.
Yep.
They made an agreement. They made an agreement. Now, naturally, the peer pressure became ball-busting galore, but it also get quite vicious.
Yeah.
Some of the comments.
Yeah.
And Matt Kuchar caved to that, which I think he did, gracefully. He never really said anything. Gave the guy $75,000, right? $70,000, I think.
He gave him the $50,000, so I think it evened out to $55,000 total.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
So, I know all these guys get different deals with their caddies. You get 10%, or they sign an agreement for the year. I carry X number of events, I get $200,000, whatever the case may be. They all do different things. This guy wasn't even supposed to caddy.
Yeah, right.
He walked away with $4,000 for 3 days.
$5,000.
$5,000 for the weekend. And like Matt Kuchar said, the guy was making $300 a week.
Right. Well, so I think
that was the only bad thing that he said.
Right, and I think
he slapped the guy in the face with that statement.
Right. He marginalized the income, because obviously, $200 for the guy who lives in Mexico is different than what $200 would be here.
Sure.
Right. So, but my whole thing is they made an agreement. It was $3,000 for the weekend, and then Matt Kuchar built in, sweeteners.
Yeah.
If he finished top 10, it was an extra $1,000. He ended up winning the tournament. He threw him two extra $1,000 to make it $5,000. And then on top of that, Matt Kuchar went to throw him another $15,000.
He refused it.
And the guy refused it. So
I think the guy was getting coached by some of the players.
Well, so that's my thought is like somebody got to him and said, "Hey, dude, like, what are you doing?" Because, for me, right, and I thought about this, like, for me, that experience alone completely outweighs any,
Absolutely.
Right, unless you're doing it and you get, $400,000 or whatever it is, like. But for me personally, that experience completely outweighs the money. And obviously if you can make a few extra bucks, doing it, that's great. But for me, it's like, why is I know that the amount of money that Kuchar offered obviously wasn't up to par of what is. Maybe
expected
is expected, right? But at the like you said, they made an agreement.
Right.
There was an agreement of $3,000 for the weekend, which I read I think is the running price for kind of like a pickup caddy.
Mm-hmm.
When you
I'm sure
you don't
that's
have
why the number was struck.
Right. And could he have thrown him a few extra bucks? Yeah. But like I go back to it, if the guy wanted more money for the work he was doing,
should have
negotiated it.
Yeah,
right. Because
Kuchar didn't have anywhere to turn. He's talking to him at the time about caddying for him.
Right.
It's not like he's got 10 caddies he's going to negotiate.
You know what I mean? Like if the guy truly thought that he was worth more than the money they agreed upon, then he should have negotiated that at the beginning. You know, and I'm not saying that the guy deserved 10% because he really what he was he wasn't putting in the legwork that an original caddy was doing. Yardages, being able to talk through shots, things like that. He's just carrying the bag for the guy.
Right.
You know, so he obviously wasn't worth 10%, but I mean, like, if you want to start breaking it down into percentages, well, now you're hurting yourself if he sucks and he gets cut. You know what I mean? If he finishes dead last in that tournament, you know what I mean? If you negotiate 2%, right now your pay is probably way less than $5,000 for what he made for the weekend. You know what I mean? So It's like, my thing was, as soon as you agree upon a fixed amount, right, that percentage of what you won goes out the window.
Right. Exactly.
You know.
Yep.
And that was my whole thing. And
agree. You know, the deal's the deal.
Right. And my whole thing is, it's like, yes, I acknowledge that, you know, Kuchar could have said, you know, went above and beyond what the agreement was. You know, but at the time, you know, the situation is like, okay, he just wins the tournament. Here's your money, and it's like, okay, I got this, I got.
Who are the guys making the comments? Coach is the biggest jerk out there. And they said that smile of his, that's all an act.
Yeah, did you hear?
Pretty good act. He smiles all the time.
Did you hear the guy at Riviera too? One of the announcers, he says you don't want to leave your coin on the green, especially when Matt Kuchar's around, because you might take it.
Oh boy!
I'm like, oh my god,
that's something.
You know.
Now let me tell you a funny story about amateur golf and a caddy.
Yeah.
My brother Pat was a good golfer, real good. I mean, back in the day, he was probably a 4 or 5 handicap. You know, maybe even lower. I don't know how the best he was. I know he broke 70 at Haverhill. He shot 69 or 68 there one day. So anyway, he's playing in the Mass Amateur. And I forget where the first round is, but it's some course down south of here. I'm not sure of the course. So naturally, you got to pick up a caddy that's, you know, there for the day. And it's all right. You got this guy. Okay. Now, my brother had a problem wearing spikes because if the spikes locked up, he had bad knees. And if his knees get locked up, you know, back then and it was tough. You know, he'd get locked up. He could go down or rip something, tear something. So he'd wear Jack Purcell sneakers or sneakers, just say, okay, and walk to the first tee like that. I mean, he looked like John Daly because he's a big, hulking guy. Pat's big guy. And he'd take like a 4-iron out and hit it about 270, 260 right down the middle. Yeah. I mean, he can move it. Big, strong guy. So gets down to his ball in the first hole down he had a good drive, and he's standing there with the caddy. So he says to the caddy, he goes, all right. He says, what do you think from here? 7 or 8 iron? He goes, what do you got for yardage from here? The caddy looks at him like, you talking to me? Dad, my brother says, yeah. He says, you're the caddy. He says, you caddy here? I don't know anything about that place. The guy goes, I don't caddy here. He says, I'm trying to make a few bucks. We're on strike from Mass Electric. Like that, he goes, I'm just here trying to pick up some money. Here's my brother standing in the middle of a fairway hoping to hit his first green, and the guy's not even a caddy.
Oh God, that is awful.
It works all the way, doesn't it?
What a hopeless feeling that is out there, huh?
Yeah, only 17 more holes with this guy. Usually it's the caddies thinking 17 more holes with this hacker.
Yeah.
And my brother's like 17 more holes with the guy that has no yardage, no nothing.
Oh God. That is a nightmare, and that's a big tournament too.
Sure, yeah.
Mass Am.
Yeah.
That is a big tournament.
So
it's at the Country Club this year.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it at the Country Club?
Yeah.
That's where Kevin Murphy's daughter shot, 77.
At Brookline? The Country Club?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
Wow.
77 or 78 last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yes, it is.
That is very impressive.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I am jonesing right now. I just went on a little golf splurge.
What? Oh,
new bag, new shoes.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that.
New grips.
Yeah.
3 pairs of shorts.
Get me a bag of tees, Tom?
Pair of
long
pants,
tees?
4 shirts.
Tom, did you get me a bag of long tees?
No, I didn't.
Where'd you go, Golf Town? Oh, that's no longer in existence.
I went to my girlfriend's mother got me a $100 gift card to Golf Galaxy.
That's right.
And then I had a little coupon, $50 off $250 or more, so I had to spend more than $250.
You gotta.
Yeah,
right?
docked the coupon.
Yeah, so
you walk into a lot
and
of
then,
deals. You ever spend any of your own money?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, all right.
And then
just a thought.
I actually made a run up to that new PGA store that's in Peabody, right by the North Shore Mall. It's right next to that Leahy Clinic.
Right.
That's a pretty cool store.
Don't mention the Leahy Clinic to me for a landmark. You think like I look like I need a Leahy Clinic?
No, but
you did it on purpose.
It's right next to the Leahy Clinic.
Like I know that. Jeez, I'll tell you. Tommy Morgan, class of 2013. Paul Ryan, class of 1971. I know, Tommy. I'm older than you. Lay off.
Are you telling me you don't know where the Leahy Clinic is? I'm 24. I know where it is. It has nothing to do with you being 66.
Yeah, I don't know how we make that correlation because if you've got to go for an emergency, that's what Leahy Clinic and pretty much all hospitals are used for.
I'd rather go to the golf store.
You can do both.
That's a really good store up there.
If you get sick, you can go to Leahy Clinic, and then the next day, if you
throw your back out over there at the
oh, now come on, see when you do that, Tommy.
I don't swing the club in the garage. I never swing the club.
My back is almost back to 100% too.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah. I come from a family of haulers.
We might have to take this little side bet up to a little bit.
Yeah.
You're thinking you're feeling good, huh?
I am.
Oh, yeah. Now I'll get you over a swing. You'll be duck hooking everything. Yeah. Attaboy, Tommy. Attaboy. Yeah, Tommy. No, it's not the swing, Tommy. Seriously, teeing it up.
I just have hereditary back problems.
I fell
Don't
down
worry about it.
I fell down the stairs, so.
You did?
Yeah, I told you that, didn't I?
The laundry?
No, I fell down.
That was me.
I fell down the stairs the night of the Super Bowl, down my front steps. Icy steps.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, so I went to the chiropractor the other night. Just got a little readjustment.
Oh.
And how you feeling? Does it work?
I'm about 96%. I'm going back for the other 4% on Friday.
Oh, so you're doing it wrong. See, all my friends who are pro-science, they think that going to a chiropractor it means that you're buying into pseudoscience, which I think is bunk. Yeah, they don't do chiropractors. Acupuncture. I'm sorry.
That's the way to go.
They don't like acupuncture. They think that's pseudoscience. These are my friends, not me.
Kim Conley, who was one of my wide receivers at college, all right, at URI. Honest to goodness, he was from Linfield. He was 6'4", probably about 222, and he could move and he could catch it. But he always had shin splints. He always had them like that. So I believe me, this guy, I unmercifully busted this guy for 4 years. It was incredible, incredible. I go to the golf tournament to raise money for the team, and I show up. He's like, "Oh no, this is going to be brutal. He's gonna bury me." So anyway, Kim and I and girl I was going out with and his girlfriend Betty, we were out having dinner, going out for a few beers or something like that. So we're shooting the breeze. Kim says, "You know, I'm going to listen to what you told me the other day." He said, "Remember when you were reading the paper on the bus? You were taking a road trip to Maine or someplace. That's all you could do is read something. You used to have, I wish you had the Sunday Globe to go to Maine." Oh. So anyway, I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You remember that ad you read about the guy in Providence or a woman in Providence that does that acupuncture you mentioned?" Like that. I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm going to try that." He says, "You convinced me." I said, "How did I convince you? I just read the ad to you." I said, "But you never know. You've tried everything else. Nothing else works. You might as well give it a shot."
Yeah.
You wouldn't get acupuncture. Never had a problem since.
Wow.
Still goes to this day, to get,
Yeah, there are people that swear by that.
Yeah, I know. My girlfriend has a coworker who swears by acupuncture, and I'm not one of those. I believe in science and anything peer reviewed, but I'm not one of those people that goes around to somebody who uses acupuncture and says, "Well, it's not peer reviewed, it's not fact based or science supported, so you're doing it wrong." If it works for you, great. It works for you. Each and every one of us is different.
Like a magic act in Las Vegas.
It worked for you. You're doing it wrong. It worked for you. You're doing it wrong. No, I don't believe in telling people that.
No.
That's just arrogance. Anyway, we're out of time.
We are out of time, and that's arrogance, too, because it's a shame that I have to shut off now to the masses. But, Eddie, I'm telling you, Eddie, it had nothing to do with me.
Had nothing. I apologize, Eddie.
Eddie, I'm telling you right now, you call next week. Call collect next week. We'll accept it.
People don't do that anymore.
Oh, you don't?
No, they haven't called 1-800-COLLECT in years.
Well, people told me I was stupid because I dialed information one day.
Do people still use MCI?
No. MCI Walpole?
Ah,
I don't know.
Ba-dunch.
Some people use it. We're going to be
Aaron
back.
Hernandez did.
We're going to be back next week with good sports, and if I have any luck, I'm going to have one of the greatest Red Sox guests you could ever have on the air. He's been on TV locally in the Boston area. He's got a shrine at his house to the Red Sox, and big fan. I got to give him a call, Jimmy. And I got his number on my desk out here. I'm going to give him a call, see if we can get him on next week. Talk a lot of Red Sox, okay? Because guess what? It's spring training, baby. It's only about 7 weeks away. We're playing baseball. So that's the way it is. And the days are getting longer, and the days are getting colder, too. It's no fun. All right, we got to wrap it up before we get thrown off the air. All right. Take it easy. Have a good one, Tommy. Take care. Well. Good weekend. David, good luck to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Take care of that cold.
Thank you, Paul.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good Sports is back again next Wednesday night at 6. The opinions expressed on Good Sports.